We are a very impatient society. People want answers now, and they don't want to wait for it. Chatbots came out as a derivative of live chat. Live chat was around for a while. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about chatbots versus live chat. Now, I'm sure you have done these before on websites.
Oh, yes.
A little pop-up on the right-hand side, and
Yep.
you chat, and there is a difference, and some people don't even know that there's a difference. So we're going to debunk those differences today. We're going to discuss kind of the pros and the cons of both. So I'm going to let you explain
Oh my.
the difference between a chatbot and live chat.
Okay, so I think most obviously live chat is just, talking to another person who is on the other side, working for the company that you're corresponding with, answering you. Sometimes it's during a specific period of time. Sometimes they run them 24/7 if it's a really large company, but obviously for smaller companies, that's not really doable.
It is doable, and we'll talk about how it's doable too. So.
Okay. I mean, at 2 a.m. Okay, but anyways.
Okay.
And I would say a chatbot is automated response. There's a variety of different softwares out there and different companies who do this. And it works 24/7. It looks for specific words and then has a response that is already kind of coded into it. For example, if it sees hours in the question, it might respond with just the list of hours that your store or whatever is open.
Yeah. So, I mean, the importance of why people do this is because we are a very impatient society. People want answers now, and they don't want to wait for it. And so chatbots came out as a derivative of live chat. Live chat was around for a while, and then there was a way to use this programmed software to do exactly what you said, right? Ask an initial question, and then whatever you reply back, or sometimes you even see buttons that pop up for common things. Did you want one of these? And if they say no, then it will go even further. And there are many different softwares out there for that. Drift being one, ManyChat, which integrates with Facebook, has all those functions, and you can build pretty elaborate chatbots in there. But in the main kind of setup of it, I would suggest thinking of what are the common things that people would be wanting an answer to that could be repetitively programmed in there, right? Like hours, location. FAQ questions that you would have would be stuff that a chatbot would work really well for. Or even down to if you've got different departments, being able to direct those inquiries to different people, right? Asking, is this related to shipping, or is this something where you're a new customer or anything along those lines? Being able to do that. And it's very, very helpful. When you talk about the live chat, like you said initially, it's human interaction, right? So you don't have to pre-program stuff. You just have to train the person that's monitoring the staff and staffing the live chat. So there's the benefit there.
Yeah. And I mean, just one statistic I found when I was doing some research was that 85% of businesses will be able to manage their relationships with clients without human interaction. Which I think is pretty crazy to think about. And that's within the next, I think it said 10 years or something like that, which is just, it's so crazy to me to think that the human interaction aspect will be completely removed. And I think that's where I kind of come in, because I know how much you're for automation and that, and I think that's really cool, and I can definitely see the benefits. But that, to me, I don't know, when I read that statistic, something felt off. So I think most obviously, talking about chatbots, obviously 24/7, they're very, very scalable with your business. Also less prone to errors without human interaction. It's a lot less likely to get either the wrong information or, a chatbot isn't going to say, I don't know to you, right? And also very cost effective. It's not like you have to pay an employee to answer.
Yeah. Now there's a hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
And there's different services out there, like live agent searches or services. We have a vendor for offering this type of service as well, where it's 24/7 live chat available on the website, and the company is pretty much trained based on what questions you want them to answer. So their goal is to either, if you're in a consulting type business or a service business, is to book a consult or a call or whatever the case is, or an appointment. And they know what questions to ask and try to get that person on the website to book that call or appointment with them. And they usually charge based on the booked appointment, that end goal. So you're not sitting there paying somebody for hours 24/7 and nothing coming in. So they're usually like a big call center, and their software just, whenever an inquiry comes in, they know that name, and then they can start to follow the scripts, right? So it's like a chat bot, but it's actually a human, so people can engage and they can answer those questions back and forth. And I think that's a good blend between the two if you're busy, right? If you have the ability to install the software or the app on your phone and you can respond within minutes of one coming in, that's the best solution. But you're doing a disservice if you have live chat and people submit a question and you don't respond for hours, because that's not a live chat, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a really brilliant middle ground, because you have all the benefits of a chatbot in the sense that it's 24/7, very scalable, and cost effective as well, like you mentioned, not quite as cost effective as chatbots. But it still has that human interaction. And I assume from what you're saying, you could also, probably let that agent know that, you're comfortable with, the specific brand voice that you have. So maybe you are a little bit more laid back and maybe sarcastic or funny with your responses. And I think that just that little touch adds a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that makes it really neat with the technology that's coming out now is it's starting to pull in messaging services from different areas. So you can integrate them with your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and people direct message there. It can run into the same feed, and then they can engage with people from those different places, because not everybody's going to come through your Facebook or your website or your Instagram, right? Yeah.
And I think a interesting kind of point to bring into this is, I feel like most startups, before they know really where they're going, and before you start getting that initial growth, you're always going to start with live chat. I feel like if you're one solo entrepreneur, you're probably going to be answering personally to start building that reputation. And I'm interested from your perspective, at what point did you start to think like, okay, I need to find a solution to this? And was there even the solution of chatbots at that point?
Yeah, and I mean, we don't use chatbots in the agency on our site. I've played with them in the past, and they had a place there. But in our business, the live chat was a better option, and we don't get a lot of volume of people that want to live chat anyway. So, but when we do, usually you get the notification to do it. But I think for anyone, the biggest thing is going to be, are you missing those live chats when they're coming in? Are you taking too long to respond? Then you obviously need to either have somebody in place, or you could start to put a chatbot in there to try to kind of like eliminate the need for you to have to respond right away, right? And then when it gets to a certain point, then you're notified. And that's where I had the one I built using ManyChat a couple of years ago, is it started to ask, are you an existing client or not? If they were an existing client, then it would just basically ask them what their inquiry was, and then it would let me know, and then I could chat with them. But if they were new, it was asking them things like, do you currently own a business? Yes. Okay. How long have you been in business? So it was vetting them and figuring out what their challenges were, so that by the time they were passed on to me, I had all that information,
right?
And a better understanding of who they were.
Yeah. And I think it really comes down to, with this, efficiency. And also your end goal is always just to make that response time as quick as possible. We did a whole episode on average response time and how important it's becoming. and how important it already is. So something I want to ask you too, because I know you're probably most up to date with this, is we touched on the Google Chat. Now, is that going to require a live chat?
No, it'll be part of the Google platform. And I mean, Google's making huge headways in their service offering to businesses. At the time of recording this episode, we're recently in the process of switching our phone system over from Dialpad, which was a great service, to Google. Because we're very much entrenched in that Google ecosystem for their email and Google Docs and everything. It just made sense. The pricing was great. And just the ability to call and receive calls in their platform was a no-brainer. Prior to that, voice chat voice calling wasn't an option for us with Google, but they're moving things fast, and they want to get that live chat feature up and running, because any of these softwares, they don't want people to leave their platform. I mean, they make their revenue through advertisers and ads. So if you can stay on Google as much as you can to engage with the business, that's a win for them, and that's what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I want to touch on, because I find this annoying, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So when I have used a chatbot in the past, and right off the bat, it will just send me the link to the FAQ page. This really bothers me because either my question isn't even included on the FAQ page, and before even any question is asked, they will say any effort is put in, I guess, to figuring out what it is we want, which is a problem with the coding, or just the way that they have coded it. They just send the FAQ page and say, do any of these answer your questions?
It's a very common response you'll get from chatbots, because it can only base it on the information that's given. So depending on the software, we utilize a ticketing system for another client called Happy Fox, and their chatbot for support does a great job where, when you first go in there, it says, do you want general inquiries, product questions, technical help, or 3 options you choose. And then from there, it asks you, like, what areas of the software do you need help with? And you click the button. And then from there, it asks you to type in what you're looking for. And then it will search the whole knowledge base for articles. And it will say, here's some that we think might answer the question. And one of the options is none of these are correct or whatever. And then as soon as you do that, it says, what would you like to do? Start over, leave, or chat with us, a live support agent. And then from there, you just get handed off to the live person.
Right.
Which is a great way to go. I think in your scenario, if it's not doing the right answer, then either, in most cases, the knowledge base it's pulling from isn't robust enough, right? It's very minimal. So if you want to do a chatbot and have that, you would need to come up with many different micro topics in there that possibly could come up in any search that people are looking for.
Yeah, I think my understanding and my perception of chatbots is that they can be good, they can be really good, or they can be really, really bad. You have to do it right. You have to plan ahead, as with anything, and you have to put effort in from the start if you want it to actually do what it's supposed to. And I think sometimes that can be a bit of a misconception, because people think, this is investment. It's, it's supposed to be automated, and, it's software that I paid for. So it's supposed to be, smart already, but it's, it can only do as much as you tell it to do.
And you always got to look at, going back, reviewing, the chats that come in, and find out where the voids are. All these systems have stats as to how many chats started, how many ended, how many made it through, that kind of thing. And as with anything, even with training an employee, and that's what you need to look at, is this is technically a digital employee for your business, is you always need to be feeding it new information, evolving it and going those routes. I mean, what we're probably going to see in the next 10 years is the advent of the AI technology coming into them, where it's starting to now not only be able to pull on what you told it, but be able to look at what's online, what's available, scan your website, and be able to make decisions on the inquiries based off of that.
Yeah.
Right. Just like an employee would, if somebody called and said, hey, do you have any information on this? They'd have to go online or to the website and look it up. Right. And that's what we're really getting to.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see these chatbots get smarter as we go on, especially when it comes to the tone as well. I mean, the AI that we have kind of been experimenting with, Jarvis, it's able to replicate a specific tone. And I think that's going to be a huge step for chatbots. When you think about a lot of companies have taken on that brand personality on, like Twitter and even TikTok and social media, I think being able to kind of mirror that in chatbots is going to be really cool.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you're looking for, where to start with a live chat, because that was the one we said would be a great way to start. There's a couple that are out there. We're currently using one on our site called Crisp. You just Google Crisp Live Chat. We have a client that just started to work with one called Tidio, Tidio. I like the way that it looks. It matches their brand really well. It's clean. So they all have free versions that you can use. And then obviously you can see when you go there, what their paid plans would include. But for most people, you don't have to pay anything out of your pocket to get a live chat put on your website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the last thing that I want to touch on is as with any decision you make regarding your business, you have to put your customers at the center of it. They have to be the driving force, right? So you have to think about who your demographic is. Are they the type who can be patient and who don't really necessarily need an instant response? Are they the type who wouldn't really look at the FAQ page right away? Or is it a group of people that is very rushed, maybe very busy, or even just a group of people that might be particularly technology savvy, in which case, they might not have an appreciation for a chatbot that isn't complex, right? And doesn't have that really big library of information. So just, as with every decision you make, with your business, you definitely have to make sure that it's compatible with your target audience and makes sense for them.
Yeah, and if you're saying to yourself, I don't know where to start simple. I think for the most complex business, just the ability to go back to simplicity. I mean, just think of where phone systems went with all the menus. And now when you call the business and somebody answers the phone when it rings, like, people love that stuff now. So to be able to go there and just get somebody live to ask some questions, I think is going to set you apart.
Running your own business is hard. Those long hours, the doubt, the challenge to meet demands. But you're resilient, strong, dedicated. You do all of this for more than profits, success, or money. You do it because you care. You care about the people who shop here, eat there, drink here. You care about your community. You care about your team. Despite all else, you care. No matter what life throws your way, you power through it with grit and perseverance. You are the epitome of dedication. You are a small business owner. For this reason, Blue Cow Marketing salutes you.